Morning, everyone.
Morning po.
Morning po.
Morning.
Good
morning po.
So is this your second day of class ba sa UP, or is this your
First
first
day
day of
po.
class?
First day
Okay.
po.
Okay. So sa mga first day of class, welcome to UP and welcome to Econ 11. Let's just review yung syllabus para lang alam nyo. So good morning, I'm Kenmore Espinoza. Let me just correct this. Okay, so you can contact me, nag-email naman ako sa inyo. So far we have discussed si Ma'am Munsod, no? Discussed chapter 1, which is the fundamentals of economics. By next meeting we will be covering chapter 2. Now, as you can notice, no, the exams are scheduled on a Sunday. This is still not final. We will meet with Ma'am Monsod on Thursday to discuss this. If ever ba, sino ba dito yung hindi ganun ka-stable ang internet? Kindly inform me na lang through email so we can raise it to Ma'am. Okay, and as discussed, then there will be 4 exams. Okay, so there will be 4 long exams, and if you are exempted, you can opt not to take the final exam. So all in all, there are 5. Okay, for you to be exempted from the final exam, you need to pass all exams, okay, at least a score of 50 and an average of 70 points. Then that would be a grade of 2.5. Okay, all your grades will be based on the exams. There will be weekly problem sets. That problem sets and even your attendance will not be recorded, but your performance in our discussion classes, sa ating participation, and will somehow be a factor on whether we will, kung nasa high range yung grade nyo, baka pwedeng i-round up. So this is what tells you if the student's raw score average is at the higher end of the range. So let's say, for example, your score is around 60, let's say, for this case, let's say 86.5. So based on your performance and your participation and on your performance in the exercises, we can opt to round it up to 87. So instead of a 1.75 grade, you'll have a grade of 1.50. Okay, any questions with respect to our grading system? Just take note that all problem sets, all announcements are posted in UVLE. Okay, all recordings will be posted in our YouTube account. The link will be posted in the UVLE page as well. Ma'am doesn't share her PowerPoint slides, so as much as possible, you take notes during her lecture. Okay? Any questions? Yes.
Tatanong ko lang po, sir, kasi nakalagay po dito na students are required to bring their ID during exam. So, required po ba na, meron po kaming ID ngayong online po?
Based on experience, hindi naman kailangan. So this, parang ang ginawa lang ata ni ma'am for this syllabus is, ito lang yung time pa na face-to-face. But for now, no need naman. And for our exams pala, for the details of it, most likely, we're still thinking of having it as synchronous na exam. So yun yung initial na Sunday night, 9 to 11, yung suggestion ni ma'am, 9 to 11 on a Sunday night, para less yung gumagamit ng mga tao on the internet. So that would be a synchronous exam. There is an option as well to have an asynchronous exam na you will have a limited time lang to answer it, pero you can take it within the day. So these are 2 possible options, pero we are still finalizing it. And hopefully we'll be able to present it to you by Tuesday next week, or yeah. Any questions? Okay. So yun lang. Thank you. We can start. Okay. So Econ 11 is a study on markets and the state. So this is our discussion class for section E1. Okay, I'm just listing all the concepts that ma'am discussed. So you have the twin themes of economics. You have scarcity and efficiency. Ma'am also discussed about the difference between macro and micro. Also yung common fallacies, caveats, post hoc fallacy, the ceteris paribus failure, and the fallacy of composition. Also another caveat in economic analysis is positive or normative. And we already know ano yung positive nga. It talks about what is. Normative talks about what should be. Okay. Okay, so again, then she proceeded with the 3 problems of economic organization. That is what output should we produce, no? And how do we produce it, and for whom should we produce it? Now, these are the 3 problems of economic organization. Now, who answers these problems? It is determined by your economic systems. I'm not sure if ma'am discussed this, but this is part of the book where the problems are answered based on your economic systems. So economic systems, there are 3. You have your market, you have your command, and you have your mix. Yung market is fairly driven by demand and supply of individuals and firms. So you have consumers and you have firms. They determine what products should be produced, how they should produce it, and for whom. Okay. Now, ang command economy naman is that there is an authority that owns all resources, and he will just determine it. Okay, instead na sa market na meron kang demand, you have your consumers and you have your firms interacting with one another and determining what, how, and for whom. Sa command naman, there is one entity. So let's say, for example, the government. Okay, in most cases, kapag let's say, for example, North Korea might be, they are in a command economy where the government determines how many guns should be produced, how should it be distributed, okay, and who will receive it. So that's the example of command. Market and command are both extremes. No? In most economies now, we have a mixed economic system wherein, in the case of the Philippines, you have your consumers and you have your producers. You have firms and consumers who are interacting with one another. Okay, that's a market mechanism. However, they are guided by policies ng government. Yan yung example of a mix. So you have your taxation, para hindi yung mga tao would be less ang consumption for sugary foods, may tax on sugar, may tax on cigarettes, and the like, this is not, taxes are not just to have revenues, they also have health goals. So yan yung mga example na yan. Okay, so and then ma'am proceeded with the concept of given all the resources that an economy has, okay, and given the economic system that it has, there is a concept of how much it can produce, okay, for any product. Yan yung tinatawag na production possibility frontier. So this is just a concept. It doesn't really mean na alam ng all economies na we have this area of land, we have this number of labor that we can employ, and then we have this level of technology, and we have this state of the art. No economy can ever determine their production possibility. But this is an economic concept, that when all resources are employed, given technology, okay, there is a maximum production for the entire economy. Yan yung PPF, Production Possibility Frontier. And sa PPF, you can see these are sa products lang to. So no, as ma'am here, no, as you can see sa Production Possibility Frontier, ano lang talaga siya, products. No, you have your butter and then you have your guns. So yun, simplified form lang to na sinasabi ni ma'am, this could be the choice between agricultural and military products, mga ganon. Okay, that the choices that an economic manager decides on. Okay, but implicit here is what you call inputs. Okay, your factors of production. Okay, implicit here, so you have, in order for you to produce guns and in order for you to produce butter, there are 3 factors of production. Okay, you have your land, labor, and capital. Okay, your land consists of all your natural resources. Okay, your labor consists of yung tao. Okay, the human capital. Capital means has to do with durable goods. Yung sinabi niya ni ma'am na palagi niyang ini-emphasize, no? Durable goods that are produced to produce another good. No, it has an economic impact as well, no? When na yung capital is both an output and an input. Okay? So yun lang yung kaibahan ni capital sa land and labor. Okay? So another concept of that na meron yung Production Possibility Frontier is the concept of opportunity cost. Okay? So as ma'am discussed, let's say for example, you are on your Production Possibility Frontier, meaning you are employing all your resources, okay, to produce the maximum amount of good. So that would be point B. Let's say for example, point B. Okay, ito. Kita nyo ba? Yung arrow ko. Okay, point D. Okay, suppose the economy decides, okay, an economic manager, okay, decides to produce more guns. Okay, to produce more guns. Now, in order for the economy to produce more guns from D to from D to C, okay, it must let go of the amount of 1 million pounds of butter. Okay, the economy must forgo to increase production of guns by 1,000 from point D to C. The economy must let go of 1 million pounds of butter. And that is the opportunity cost of a gun. The concept of opportunity cost is the value of the foregone best alternative. Okay, so let's say for example, what is your opportunity cost of attending our discussion class? It could be that siguro you're valuing more sleep. So that would be your opportunity cost. The hours of sleep na sana ginugol mo sa paghiga than attending a discussion class. Or suppose by now dapat nagluluto ka na for lunch kasi 11:30 na. Or another case. So these are sa concept ng economic manager, okay? Meron siyang opportunity cost basta it is the value of the foregone best alternative. Okay? Okay. The second concept of PPF is efficiency. Okay? So let's go back here. Okay, point I, so this is your Production Possibility Frontier. No? An economy would always want more. No? As much as the reason why we have scarcity is because there is limitless wants. No? Limitless yung wants, pero limited yung resources. Kaya may scarce yung resources. So in this, for example, point I, okay? Point I is an invisible point, meaning when the economy uses all its resources, given its technology, it cannot produce at point I. That is the invisible region. Okay? No matter how efficient the economy is. Okay? Now, point U. Point U is a point wherein visible region, pero hindi siya sa sides, hindi siya sa dulo, hindi siya sa frontier. Okay? So what does this mean? It just means that there are some resources that are unemployed. And this is a point of inefficiency. Okay? So let's say, for example, siguro at this time, merong mga tao that have chosen not to work. That would be unemployed resources, okay? Unemployed labor, okay? Or at this point in time, siguro mas maraming nagkakasakit dahil sa COVID. So most economies, as you can base on this, so kung bumaba yung participation ng labor, then we would expect na they are within their production possibility frontier. This is an efficiency because the economy could have produced more butter or more guns, but they did not choose to. Okay, so that is an example of an efficiency. So what are ang sa production possibility frontier? This is what we call productive efficiency. Okay, a productive inefficiency, yung point U, where supposed to be dapat mag-produce ka ng at the frontier pero you do not. There is another form of inefficiency. Okay, this is what you call market failure. No? When this is the failure of the market to capture true prices of goods. Okay? Most of the time, ito yung pumapasok na parang pollution cost. Usually in most cases when markets fail to account for pollution cost, okay, with respect to public goods and private goods, merong inefficiency. Okay, we will discuss it later, no? Sa ating discussion class, sa ating discussion questions. Yun. We also, so ano pa bang kulang ko na hindi na-discuss? Let's discuss na lang yung let's have a discussion on the PPF. Let's continue. Okay? So, another, yung sinabi ni Ma'am, just to expand, yung we can also use PPF to show the difference between poor versus rich countries. Right? In terms of their consumption of necessity and luxuries. No? So how do you expect? So let's say, for example, so you have your X, let X be necessity and let Y be luxuries. Now, how would you expect a poor country would be? Is it more of a necessity or more of delete na lang muna natin. Yan. Okay. Sige, anyone who would like to? Sige. Let's have Jazel okay, Jazel.
Jazel po. So,
Okay.
kung poor po, baka po mas mababa po yung luxuries po na meron sila at mas marami po yung necessities.
So we would expect a PPF to look like this one.
Yes po.
Yeah. More of X but less of Y. Say, for clarity, let's have this one. Yeah. No? So we would expect a poor country to have more of necessity than its luxuries. And most likely they would choose here, at point here, no? More of the necessities because deprived sila sa ganito. Now, okay, anyone, paano naman kung rich country? Okay, let's have Diane. Okay.
Kapag rich country naman po, maaaring mag-expand po yung sa necessity, pero mas mag-i-increase po and makikita talaga yung difference from the poor country pagdating po sa luxury.
So we would see, maybe no, we have this one. Ganyan. Okay, so let's for example, we have ibang kulay na. Okay, maybe they would choose a point B, no? Almost same ng necessity, pero more of luxuries. Kasi sanay sila na yung they are not deprived of these goods, no? So yeah. Okay. Sige, thank you. So we also can have use PPF for frontier versus urban communities in terms of private versus public. Okay? So, sige, hindi na natin i-delete. Okay, so anyone who would like to answer, if you are, so let X be private and let Y be a public good. Okay? Sige. Anyone who would like to share or to point out where would a frontier community be in terms of private and public goods? So let me see. Let's have Raisa, and then for the urban communities, let's have Jesusalem. Did I pronounce your name correct?
Jet na lang po.
Okay. Sige, Je. So, okay, so let's have Raisa first. Okay, Raisa. Sorry.
Para po sa frontier, more concentrated po sila dun sa far end ng private goods rather than the public goods po nila. Kasi mas concerned po sila dun sa agad na ma-receive ng mga individual entities po nila.
Thank you. No, we would expect a frontier community, so these are relatively very poor communities, no, to be more concerned about their own well-being. No, ito yung sinasabi ni Mama, for frontier economies na deprive of, let's say for example, of food, of access to clean water, of clean air, they don't talk about that. they don't, wala silang masyadong pake on public goods, no, that na welfare ng pangkalahatan. They are more concerned of meron ba kaming kakainin by tonight or for this lunch. So most of the time they would produce, or no, their resources would be directed to private goods for their own consumption. Okay, now si Jess, compared naman sa urban communities.
So for urban societies po, since they are urbanized, they are more prosperous on the public goods such as and services which include education and roads, yung ganun po, sir.
Yeah. So let's say for example, siguro nandito sila sa D, point D. No? Na oftentimes, so if you can check the news, most of the efforts for climate change, for things such as this is from the West, and mostly European countries who are very rich countries. No? So as you can see, no, they are more concerned about the welfare of the many. Kasi they are not concerned of whether they still have food to eat. They are well fed, and now they are more concerned. That's the lesson here, no, is that we are oftentimes dictated by the amount of resources that we have. Hindi yun dahil choice natin. It's because our choices are dictated by the amount of resources that we have. Kung poor ka, most likely then you would focus all your resources for your own well-being. Kasi nahihirapan ka na eh. You can't even survive, no? Pero when you have the resources, most likely your choices would be parang more general, no? You would seek more more public good. Okay? So, before we proceed to no, nakalimutan kong i-discuss what is the difference between private and public good? Anyone? Meron ba? Okay, sige. So, the concept of private and public good has to do with whether uh, consuming the good is rival or excludable. So, okay, so you have, sulat ko na lang ha, you have excludable goods and non-excludable. Yan, excludable na yan. So, and you have also rival and non-rival. Okay, what do we mean by excludable? Meaning, you can exclude other individuals to consume it. Pwede mo sabihin, nope, this is mine. Rival means, when you consume it, others won't be able to consume as well. So, mababawasan yung consumption nila. So, a private good, such as food, okay, is both excludable and rival. Okay? A public good is non-excludable and non-rival. Let's say, for example, clean air. Pwede mo bang i-exclude ang tao sa clean air? Hindi naman. And does your consumption of clean air affect others' consumption? No. Hence, it is non-excludable and non-rival. Okay. So what is an example of a excludable good pero non-rival? Okay, an example would be, ang tawag dito for excludable and non-rival are club goods. Okay? Example, expressways. May toll siya. Usually ba expressway malalawak, sobrang lawak, pero may toll. You can exclude cars from going into it. But it is non-rival because malawak siya. No, so when you pass through it, hindi naman apektuhan ang ibang consumption. Okay? Other so isa na lang, quadrant 1. Non-excludable and rival. These are an example of common pool resources. Okay? Common pool. An example of this is a lake or forest, no? These are non-excludable. You can pwede mong hindi natural resource, yung forest, yung sea. Yun, ano yun sila? The fishes in the sea. These are non-excludable na pwede mong hindi kayo pwedeng kumuha sa isda namin, yung mga ganon. You can't own fish unless meron kang anyway. Pero rival siya. Because when you get all the fish, okay, ano na makukuha ng iba? So that's an example of it. So, ayan, na-complete na natin yung picture, no? In economics, if you are an economics major or basta to appreciate lang, no? You need to identify what a good is, whether it's a private good, a public good, a club good, or a common pool resource. Okay? So that's yan lang yung for para lang background lang. Okay? Next, let's proceed with the concept of using PPF sa today versus today's consumption versus future's consumption. Okay? So let's draw another PPF sa baba. Okay? So this has to do with today's consumption, today's C, and capital goods. Okay? So let Y be capital investment, X be your today's consumption, and let Z be your future's consumption. Okay. Anyone can tell me, let's say for example, you have ito muna. Let's erase this. Okay. Okay. Let's uh, A, B, C. Okay. So you have different economies facing same amount of resources and technology. You have economy A, you have economy B, and you have economy C. Okay. Suppose, okay, hindi suppose. What would happen if economy B, what would happen to economy B's PPF in the future relative to A? Anyone? What would happen to economy B's PPF relative to A? Sige, Janelle?
It will have more future consumption because it had a higher capital investment during the current consumption.
Okay, that's correct. So let's say, for example, this is A. Okay, that is the PPF of A. Okay. The PPF of B would be outside of A. Okay. This is because, again, more capital investments would lead to more future consumption. Okay. Ito lang yung tinatawag na delayed gratification. You know, this is contextualizing delayed gratification. Okay? Medyo maulan. Naririnig niyo ba yung ulan? When you make choices now, okay, you must always think about its future consequences. Okay, yan lang yung sinasabi na in most economies, they don't just deal with the now. They also consider the consequences of their choices now. And I think that's a life lesson for each one of us, no? Na what you make, whatever you choose right now will have an impact tomorrow. So make the right choice now. In the same way as these economies are, okay, based on their amount of resources and how they answer their economic problems will determine where will they be in the future. Okay. Questions? Okay. So what is, okay, question lang to. What would happen, okay, if balik tayo dito. May share my slides. Okay. Okay. Suppose in this case, no, what would happen to the PPF of this economy if the number of cows decreased or merong plague sa mga cows, tas namatay sila, what would happen to the PPF of this economy? Anyone? Okay, sige. Zedric. Am I correct? Zedrix ba or Zedric?
Zedrex po.
Zedrex. Okay.
Okay, so
See, what would happen?
for this in this economy, if the number of cows would decrease, the PPF would move to the left because of decreased capability to produce butter.
A move to the left of.
To the left of the graph, sir.
So what? Let me.
Bale, it would decrease.
Okay.
Bale,
sige.
the PPF.
What would
decrease.
happen? What would happen? Are you pertaining to this one? Ganyan?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Or you're talking about this one?
That one, sir. The latter.
Okay. Okay. That's right. Okay. Here. Parang ganyan. It is not a shift in your PPF. but more of a pivot of your PPF. Kasi again, cows are not used as a resource for guns. So it does not an input for guns, but only for butter. So in that sense, when let's say for example a specific technology for butter is nag-decrease or may nawala or na-degrade, what would happen to your PPF is may pivoting lang, not shifting. Okay. Now, what would happen if, thank you Zedrix, what would happen if population increase by 20%? Anyone? What would happen to your PPF if population decreased by 2%, 20%? Anyone? Anyone? Who would like to try? Tawag na lang ba ako? Sige, let's have Blessy. Are you here?
Yes, sir.
Sige. Blessy muna. Okay. What would happen? Yes.
Decrease or increase po?
Increase by 20%.
Sir, I think the graph would shift by 20% since there is an increase of population. The consumption of butter will also increase and the plants.
Yeah, you're correct that the PPF would shift outwards. Okay, so let's say it would shift outwards, or in that case, basta shift siya outwards. But you're quite incorrect in the sense that it is not because there is increased consumption, but more of there is an increase in labor. Okay, we take note that ang PPF only talks about production. Okay? And our land, labor, and capital are inputs. And even the state of technology that you have. So, okay? So, you're correct that it shifts outward, but because only of increased labor, increase in input. Okay? So, what causes the shift of or the pivoting of our PPF? Increase and decrease in our inputs. And that includes land, labor, capital, and the level of technology. Okay? Thank you, Blessy. Any questions? Okay, walang questions. Let's proceed now. Sorry. Yan. Okay. Okay. Let's proceed now to our discussion questions. Okay, this is found in our in the end of the book. Sorry. Okay, let's have discussion 1. Okay. Assume that Econoland produces haircuts and shirts with inputs of labor. Okay. So Econoland has 1,000 hours of labor available, and a haircut requires 1/2 hours of labor, while a shirt requires 5 hours of labor. Now you need to construct Econoland's production possibility frontier. So how do you do this? Me annotate. Okay. So, ano yung given? We are given 1,000 hours of labor. Okay? So, how do you construct your table? It's basically just for a haircut, okay, let H be haircut. Okay? And L of H be input requirement. Okay, hours of labor required. Okay, input requirement for a haircut. My apologies for my handwriting, pero hopefully you can still follow. And a shirt, let S be equal to shirt. And the labor hours required for a shirt is LS. Okay, input required for a shirt. Okay, so for you to construct your table, so you just have 1/2 H plus 5 S equal to 1,000. Okay, ito yung way mo of constructing your table. And since this is linear, you can expect that your PPF, no, you can do this at your home, no? That your PPF would look like this, a straight line. Okay? So, what is the value? Let's say this is BH and let this be S. What is the value of this point? 0S. And lahat ng labor nasa haircut. How many haircuts would there be at this point? Sige, Zedrix. You're on mute? Yon. Okay.
2,000
How many?
2,000 haircuts.
Yes. Yes. So that would be, if 0 CS, then that would be 1/2 H equal to 1,000. H is equal to 2,000. So at this point would be 2,000 haircuts. Okay. Now, what is the value of this point? When there are 0 haircuts, how many shirts are made? Sige, let's have, sino pa ba to? Okay, let's have Hannah, since hindi ko pa naririnig si Hannah. Okay, how many haircuts would there be?
Can you repeat the question po?
Okay, so what is the value of this point when there are 0 haircuts and all resources are used for the production of shirts?
200 shirts po.
Yeah, okay, so that would just be 5S equal to 1,000. Okay, S equal to 200. Okay. Okay, so this is just a simplification. No, you can still also determine what are the values of the different points along this line. So you can, yung nakita nyo kanina, pinakita ni ma'am, you have yung table. Okay, let me clear everything else. Okay, let's proceed to discussion 2. Okay. Okay, now consider an economy that produces guns and butter. Okay, assume that scientific inventions have doubled the productivity of society's resources in butter production without altering the productivity of gun manufacture. Draw the society's production possibility frontier to illustrate the new trade-off. So, okay, can I have a volunteer on this one? I can draw for you, or if you want, kung meron kang something to. Sige, Raisa, do you want me to draw for you? At hindi ako magaling?
If okay lang po, sir.
Okay, okay. So, again, let's have, okay, this is butter, and this is guns. Okay, suppose you have a PPF that looks like this. Okay, Raisa, what if there is scientific invention in terms of butter production, but no scientific intervention in gun manufacturing? What would your production possibility look like? Or how would it change?
Sir, nung trinay ko po, nag-pivot outward po siya. So, lumaki. lumaki po siya.
On which side?
On the side of the butter productions po.
Right. That's correct. Thank you. So you would expect that there's no change at the point of origin, at the point of foregons. So pivot lang, or something like that. Okay. So there's a pivoting of your PPF because again, yung example natin kanina na what if namatay yung mga cows, or ito lang, in this case lang, ano lang to, opposite naman. Okay. Thank you, Raisa. Next, discussion question 3. Okay, let me read it to you. Some scientists believe that we are rapidly depleting our natural resources. Okay, assume that there are only 2 inputs. We have labor and natural resources, producing 2 goods, concerts and gasoline, with no improvement in society's technology over time. So meaning constant C technology. Show what would happen to the PPF over time as natural resources are exhausted. The second one is, how would invention and technological improvement modify your answer? And then siguro we'll discuss na din how do we explain economic growth as a race between depletion and invention. Okay, anyone from the class? Okay, you have 2 outputs, concerts and gasoline. You have 2 resources, labor and natural resources. Sige, draw ko na lang muna yung PPF. Okay, on this side, siguro you have concerts, and then you have your gasoline. Okay, initially, ito yon. Time 1. Okay, let's label this as time 1. Okay, PPF at time 1. Okay, now over time, natural resources are depleted. Okay, now what would happen to your PPF? Okay, let's have Camille. Tapos, for question number 2, we'll have Gianna. Okay? Camille, what would happen to your PPF? What would we expect?
Yung sa gasoline po, bababa po siya ng yung position po niya habang nagsistay pa rin po dun sa C.
Sa C. So you mean pivot lang, hindi siya shift.
I guess po, sir. Opo.
Am I correct? Okay. Sige. Let's have that as an answer. Okay, ito yung answer ni Camille. Okay. Sige, Jana, do you have a different answer?
Kapag po ba nag-deplete yung scenario?
Sorry, yes. Same question lang, same question. Are you in Sige, go. You can proceed.
Bababa po yata both X and Y axis kasi ang concerts and gasoline parehas affected by labor and natural resources. Kapag nag-deplete po sila, bababa rin yung production ng concerts and gasoline.
Okay. Thank you, Gianna. Okay. Okay. So I think both of you are correct in a sense. Okay. So I want to thank you, si Camille and Gianna, for participating. We would expect that the PPF would shift inwards. Hindi lang pivot. Kasi concerts would also require natural resources. Okay, hindi lang naman labor lang yung involved sa concerts eh. You have your equipment which are produced out of natural resources. So yun lang. although we take note that natural resources in this case affects all output. Okay, kaya shift inwards. Okay, although labor is considered fixed. Okay, thank you. Okay, now for the second question, how would invention and technological improvement modify your answer? What if my technology na instead of using 1,000 trees to produce paper for your concerts and for energy for guns, ano? Ang kailanganin mo na lang is 10. Okay? What would happen to your PPF? Or how would our PPF change despite depleting natural resources? Okay, so let's have let's have Erica, Hart, Resada, and then let's have Ella then after. Sige, Erica.
Hello po.
Yes, hello.
If over time po magkakaroon ng invention and technological improvement, ay ang mangyayari po sa graph ay mag-shift siya outward.
Mag-shift siya outward. Okay, let me draw that ha. Despite depleting natural resources. Tama? So yun yung sinasabi mo? Yan. Tama, Erica?
Apo.
Okay, sige. Let's have, thank you. Let's have Ella.
Sir, hi.
Hi.
I think po parehas po kami ng sagot ni Hart, pero instead of sobrang laki po ng pag-shift po na hindi po ganun kalaki since medyo hindi po yung sobrang laki po yung pag-shift outward since kulang hindi pa yung depleting pa rin po yung natural resources po.
So where do you think would the PPF be? With outside of the T1 or inside of T1 but above the blue one?
I think above po ng blue one po.
Above ng blue one. So you're expecting it to be here. Parang ganyan.
Apo, may konting changes pa.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Ella. Meron pa ba who would like to answer? Hindi ba siya babalik sa T1? Okay, let's have Blaine. Let's have Blaine. Okay? Blaine?
Hi po. Hello.
Yes.
Okay.
Hello.
It depends din sa rate ng technological invention or improvements. If same yung rate ng technological improvement sa rate ng pag-deplete ng natural resources, magiging stagnant lang siya or babalik siya sa T1. Pero kung mas maraming or mas mataas yung rate ng technological improvement, it might shift outward since parang napaforgo na yung depletion ng natural resources since mas mataas na yung technological improvement.
Yes. Thank you, Blaine. Thank you for pointing it out. No, all your answers are correct. No, correct. It is possible na umabot ka sa red na PPF. It is possible as well na bumalik ka sa green na PPF. Parang EBS pala to. Tapos or pumunta ka sa white, no? So again, as Blaine said, it matters whether the rate of depletion and the rate of technological improvement are the same. So kaya nga, this explains why economic growth is a race between depletion and invention. Okay, it could be what if ito yung case ni, if you can still remember, if you have discussed previous nyo na mga sa high school, no, talk about Thomas Malthus. Sinabi niya, with the rate at which our population is increasing, by this time wala nang matitira, mamamatay na tayo lahat kasi yung natural resources natin are considered fixed. That is correct. Correct naman siya na overpopulation would lead to would lead na mabilis ang depletion ng resources, and since the faster the depletion of resources, mas konti yung makakakain and then mamamatay. that Thomas Malthus is correct. However, he forgot to include technological advancements. Okay? As you can see, no, with little amount of natural resources needed, mas marami ng output ang napoproduce. That's the effect of technology. And in the sense, no, the only way for, diba? The only way for this economy to grow, to shift outwards in yung economic growth, is when invention or technological improvement, the rate of technological improvement is higher than depletion of natural resources. Okay, kaya race siya between that. Okay? Any questions to this? Okay, none? We still have 5 minutes. Let's have question 4. Okay. Say that Juan has 10 hours to study for upcoming tests in Econ 11 and Math 11. Draw a PPF for grades given Juan's limited resources. If Juan studies inefficiently by listening to loud music and chatting with friends, where will Juan's grade output be relative to the PPF? And what will happen to the grade PPF if Juan increases study inputs from 10 hours to 15 hours? Okay, so medyo madali lang to. Anyone who would like to answer? So let me just draw the PPF. You have your Econ 11 na grade yan in math, and then you have your Math 11 na grade. Sorry. Then you have your PPF. Okay, let's have Maxine.
Hello, sir.
Hi.
Hello po.
Sige.
Okay. So if one studies inefficiently by listening to loud music and chatting with friends, definitely his number of hours will be lessened, and then his grades will be low as well. And then when once increases his study inputs from 10 hours to 15 hours, then definitely his grades will shift. It will become more higher. That one, sir.
Okay, first,
Thank
let's
you.
first. Okay. Okay, thank you, Maxine. Before you go, okay. Okay. Number 1, will there be a shifting of PPF or not?
There will be a shifting po, sir.
There will be a shifting. So where would do you think will the shift be? Inwards or outwards?
Inwards po.
Okay.
It will become
Sige.
lower.
Inward. Okay. Let's have, thank you, Maxine. Tapos kapag nag-increase siya ng hours from 10 to 15, it will somehow shift outwards na. Is that what
Yes
you're
po.
saying? Okay. Sige. Thank you, Maxine. Let's have another one. Sige. Meron pa ba akong hindi natatawag? Hindi ko nakikita. Angel, have I called you? Okay. Sige, Angel. Do you agree with Maxine na there is a shifting inwards of the PPF?
Yes po, sir. I do agree.
You agree?
Opo. When it
Shifting
comes
inwards.
to opo.
Tapos
When-
kapag pag increase ng study hours from 10 to 15, shift outwards din.
May shift upwards po, sir. Or it may also be shift po from the same lang po ng ano po. Nagsimula po siya.
That's okay. Thank you. Anyone pa? Last one. And sige, magtatawag. Sino pang hindi ko natatawag? Ang dami ko pang hindi natatawag ba? Sige, let's have Francesca. Are you here?
Yes po.
Okay. Sige, do you agree with the two of them?
I think po kasi kailangan nating i-emphasize na limited yung resources niya. So, ayun po. Wait lang po.
Sige, I'll give you time. 12:30 na pero I'll give you time. Okay, Angel, are you still there? Francesca ba? Francesca, are you still there? Okay, sige. Sige. Question. Okay. What causes, ito lang ha. Thank you for those who raised their hands though. I appreciate your participation. But for the rest of the class, what causes the shifting of our PPF? It's the change in the amount of resources and the technology. Okay, yun lang yung cases by which yung PPF mo mag-shift or pivot. Okay, when there are changes in technologies or there are changes in the amount of resources available. Okay, now, is this a decrease in input? Or okay, so take note ha, is this an decrease in input of your output na grade in Econ 11 in grade in Math 11? The question is, the answer is no. So this is the number of hours for studying is still 10. Walang changes in inputs. May unemployed hours ka lang of study. Okay? So in this case, let me erase. There is no green point. In fact, instead of, sorry, we're extending lang ha ng ilang minutes lang. So instead of, let's say for example, at point A, Juan, by listening to loud music instead of studying, by chatting with friends instead of studying, is now within the feasible region of its PPF. Meaning, meron siyang unemployed hours of study. Yung number of hours of study niya, hindi naman nabawasan. The resource is there, but it is not used for the production of Econ 11 grade and Math 11 grade. Okay, nakuha? So based on our examples, di ba yung kanina, kapag namatay ang mga cows, wala naman tayong choice. That is basically a change in input. So kaya nag-shift. Or there is technological advancement in butter production, kaya nag-shift. But in this case, meron lang unemployed hours of study. The total number of hours for study is still the same. Hindi mo lang ginamit. So let's say for example, you decide na dapat 2 hours ako mag-study. Pero in the first hour nag-study ka nga, pero after that, nag-Facebook ka na lang or naglaro ka na lang. And then you continue. So that is unemployed hours of study. Okay? Hence, you are being inefficient in the amount of hours allocated for studying. Okay, any questions? Okay, so hopefully you were able to get something from our discussion class today. Meron pang discussion question 5, but it has to do with inefficiency in the concept of market failure. No, yung hindi na reflect yung prices. Okay? Okay. Any questions? If there are no questions, see you on Thursday and hopefully we'll be able to discuss then. You can email me if you have other questions.
Thank you, sir.
Ngayon ko lang nabasa, Francesca. Okay. Okay.
Thank you po.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Hope to see you
Thank you po.
next meeting.
Thank you po, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you po, sir.
Thank you.
Bye po.
Bye. This will be uploaded. Discussion class will be uploaded. Thank you.
Sir, excuse me po, how about po yung lecture? Hindi po ba siya i-upload?